Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Lewis Speaks 2022, and today I want to talk to you all about conversational narcissists. What exactly is a conversational narcissist? We're going to go into that definition later on throughout this video, and we're also going to talk about ways to deal with people who are conversational narcissists. So let's kick it off. What exactly is a conversational narcissist? A conversational narcissist is a person that always has to find themselves in a conversation. They always have to hijack the conversation. Whenever you're talking with them, you always feel like you're held hostage by their words and by their exchange. You never feel heard in the transaction. You always feel as though you're being just held captive. And typical classic narcissism are people who have this sense of entitlement, this inflated sense of importance, this grandiosity that kind of hinders their ability to see other people, to really connect with another person. And so, oftentimes, when you're talking with a conversational narcissist, they always have to find their story in your autobiography. You never feel completely heard by them. You never feel listened to at all. They always have to turn the conversation around back to them. You're telling them about your day, and somehow it goes into their family and their life and their vacation. And it's just they never really let you get a word in edgewise either. They always take over the conversation. You know, they suck up all the air in the room. They do not allow other people to really have a voice. And when you're talking with them, as I mentioned earlier, you just don't feel heard or seen. And over time, you get annoyed. You get pissed off because you wonder, why aren't they asking anything about me? Why aren't they interested in me? And so we've all had this. We've all talked with somebody who just completely dominated a conversation. And you're just sitting there listening, but the exchange is not fair. You're doing more listening than speaking, and they're doing more talking than listening. So it's just this inequity, you know? And I ran into a couple of people like that. And oftentimes you could see the narcissism just spilling out of them. How they're talking about their children or their wife or their vacations or their boats and their trips and their this, that. It's just, they go just on this tailspin, and you leave them feeling dizzy. You have this sense of vertigo where you're just like, what happened here? And it's really difficult to talk with them. It's really difficult because it almost feels like a war of words where you're trying your best to prevent from drowning, because when you talk with them, it feels like you're drowning. Because once again, conversation, prefix co, meaning both, meaning two, it requires two people to share of themselves. One person needs to listen, one person needs to speak, and vice versa. There should be a reciprocity. But with a conversational narcissist, they are complete Nazis with conversation, you know? But you do not have to be held captive to their tyranny at all. What you need to realize is that, for one, you have to identify them. That's step one. You have to first identify the conversational narcissists in your life. You know, me personally, I work with a couple of them. They constantly have to be the center of attention. They have to center themselves in every conversation. They really never ask anything about you and how you're doing. You know, it's always about them, their lives, and quite frankly, I've learned to identify them. So once you identify them, you learn how to, for one, keep it short and simple. KISS method. Use the KISS method. Keep it short and simple. KISS, that's the acronym. Keep it short and simple. Try your best not to engage with them no longer than maybe 5 minutes tops. You know, always have something to do. You know, let them know, well, Susan, I'm sorry, I can't engage with you right now because I have to work on this project. But you have a nice day, you know, and you keep it pushing. Always set that boundary, set that time limit, because boundaries are here to keep you safe and protect you from these conversational narcissists. And you have to have strong boundaries, because trust, they will try to overstep those boundaries often. So you have to definitely be firm. They'll try to say, well, let me say this one more thing. Well, Susan, I can't right now. I have to go. So, and be adamant about that. Stick to your guns. Because quite frankly, they don't mind holding you hostage. So you should not mind disrespecting them at all, if necessary. You know, if they feel disrespected, oh well, that's not your problem. Your problem is to protect you. So that's one. You identify, then keep the conversation short and sweet. You know, also realize that you don't have to listen. See, this is the thing. I've realized that listening is an act of love. It's an act of love that should be reserved for only those people that know how to return that act of love. And so when you deal with people who cannot return that act of love, it really, for one, it upsets you. It upsets your spirit. I don't know about you, but I know for me, it upsets my spirit. It makes me feel like, wow, this person really does not care for me. They're not considerate. And it's always the lack of consideration that really, really is at the root of the frustration. So the thing about it is that you don't have to listen. You know, you don't have to engage with that person. You know, when you see them coming, like Ian Labanzan says, when you see crazy coming down the street, cross the street. You don't have to engage. You know, in situations where you work with these conversational narcissists, I think keeping it short and sweet definitely is a great technique on how to protect yourself, because people will not respect your time. They will not include you unless you make them include you. You have to make people, and you make people by respecting yourself enough to, for one, include yourself. And that brings me to my next step, which is step 4, I believe. Step 4, whenever you're talking to a narcissist, a conversational narcissist, you definitely want to make sure that you interject yourself. Now, they're going to constantly try to derail what you're saying. They're going to constantly try to shift the focus back to them. What you have to do is, once again, shift it back to you. Shift it back to you. You have to learn how to somehow shift it back to you and always find yourself in the conversation. And that's very difficult for people who have not been raised to take up space. People who are traumatized, who have been raised to kind of play small and kind of just hide in the background. That can be very difficult for them to talk themselves up. But you got to learn how to do that. You got to learn how to talk yourself up and find yourself in the conversation, because they're not going to find you in the conversation. They've already made it clear that you are solely here to worship at the altar that is them. They made that clear. You are here. Your purpose is not an individual. You are not an individual to a conversational narcissist. You are a fan, a follower, an acolyte, somebody to worship at the altar that is them. So you have got to turn yourself into a deity. And what I mean by that, taking nothing away from my Heavenly Father at all. No, you have to turn yourself into an earthly deity by, for one, respecting yourself, respecting your voice, honoring your voice by expressing it. Outwardly, you have to honor your voice, because the conversational narcissist will try and disarticulate you. They will try to literally cut your throat so that way you can't speak and that you just listen. That's not fair. That's not fair. Something about that just offends my judicious sentiment. So when that happens, I realize that, for one, I have to make sure that I get in the game. Get in the game. Because these conversational narcissists, they're going to always try to leave you out. So, you know the rules. For one, you identify them. Definitely identify them. Keep it short and simple. Definitely stop listening. You can definitely walk away. Like I mentioned before also, you don't have to engage with them. I mentioned this earlier. You don't have to engage with them. And if you do have to engage with them, step 4, always, always, always make sure that you get in the game. Get in the game. See, with typical narcissists, how you handle them, 2 ways. 1, no contact. You have no contact. But sometimes when you work around these conversational narcissists, you have no choice but to interact with them in order to get the job done. That's the reality. So, okay. So, thing about it is, second technique is gray rock method. Gray rock method, just basically just anytime they try to say anything to excite you, anytime they try to trigger you, because narcissists in general, they try to say stupid things out of their mouth to trigger a response out of you. Because to be honest, your response is their food. Your response is their fuel. They love it, being able to get a reaction out of you. Don't take the bait. Gray rock method requires you to just sit there like, okay, okay. That's it. Unaffected, okay. And so you got to do that. You have to do that to protect your energy, because there are so many vampires just looking to bleed you. You know? You can be bleeding, and I know for empaths, for people that are caring, loving individuals who like to listen and express empathy and compassion for other people, this can be challenging, but you have to learn how to express empathy and compassion for your energy level and for your heart, because people out here will not protect your heart. They will just use your heart to feed their ego. That's it. And that's the reality. And I share this with y'all because, to be honest, I love you all. I really do. I really do, because I know that it's hard. I know that it's hard out here to try to interact with other people and to try to have a healthy relationship, especially in 2022. It's hard. So my heart goes out to people. I feel you. At the same time, this is why I put this information out there, so that way you don't have to constantly deal with the nonsense and you can protect yourself. You know, true love is protection. And when you say you love yourself, you protect yourself. You protect you because you want to live to see another day. You definitely want to live to help other people and realize your purpose. And people like conversational narcissists, all they want to do is derail your purpose, sidetracks you from your original goals. So you got to always find yourself in the conversation. They talk about their family, you talk about your family, you talk about your loved ones, and sometimes they think they slick. See, they think they slick. They talk about things that they know you have no experience in, so that way you could just listen. But there's always something that you can share. If they're talking about a hobby that you never partook in, talk about a hobby that they never partook in. You know? Talk about something that they have no experience in. You know, because they oftentimes try to do that to center themselves. Again, that's just a tactic for them to center themselves. So you have to be very aware of that. You know, that happens a lot with people that I talk with at my job. They definitely don't want you to have a voice, so they talk about certain things and kind of hold you hostage to their interests. But you know, you have interests too, and that's why you have to become self-aware. You definitely have to be self-aware, know what you enjoy doing, know what you like, and just really just express it. It's so crucial, because I'm learning that people are so miserable. At the heart of all this, people are miserable, and they want you to be miserable too. And they don't want to do anything to really connect. All they want to do is dump and get the nonsense off of them. They don't care how they leave you. They don't care how frustrated or stressed they leave you, you know, but you have to care. And that's the beautiful thing, because you care. And because you care, you could take steps to protect yourself. And now you have the tools. You don't have to be held hostage to their negativity, to their narcissism. All you have to do is love on you enough to actually talk yourself up, talk about your experiences, really value your voice. That's crucial. So I hope this video was helpful. Definitely leave some feedback. I would love to hear your experiences dealing with conversational narcissists, and any helpful tools that you might have, definitely share. I'm definitely open to that. So once again, if you enjoyed this video, share, like, definitely recommend it. I am so thankful to you all for your listening ear, And I also hope that I can listen as well. So definitely share with me in the comments so that way we can start a dialogue. All right, y'all. Peace.